We're getting 5 hero skins and a scenery this month because of the huge collab Clash of Clans is doing with Erling Haaland. I'm gonna break down the cosmetics and give you my first impressions of them. Starting on the first day of May, we're gonna get 2 hero skins. This is the first ever human put into Clash of Clans, Erling Haaland, the football player, as a Barbarian King skin. He's gonna be a legendary skin available for the entirety of May, costing $9.99. The other skin that's gonna be available is the football champion because she is the gold pass skin for the month of May. And the gold pass costs $6.99 and she's going to be that first reward on the pass. You might be wondering, what's the 5th skin if we only have 4 heroes? Every single hero is going to get a football skin, including the king. So the king is getting 2 skins this month, the football king and King Haaland. Now, I've hardly looked at these skins yet, so these are truly my first impressions of the skin. We'll start off with King Haaland, which is obviously an exaggerated version of Erling Haaland with the golden cape and the golden uniform. There's constant confetti falling down around him, and it looks like all the rest of these skins are also going to have that confetti, meaning they've got these constant visual effects along with some extra visual effects. His pose animation is him juggling the ball, hitting it with his head, and then as he walks around his altar, he dribbles the ball. I did do one attack already with the rest of the skins, but this is the very first attack with King Haaland. Now he dribbles the ball, and then when he attacks, oh my goodness. Okay, so he kicks the ball behind him over his head and then headers it into the building. And I'm gonna apologize in advance for any time I may call this soccer. I know everybody else in the world except Americans call it football, but I am from America, so it's kind of ingrained in me to call it soccer. Here's his knockout animation, and I did see the knockout animations of all the rest of the skins, but they're all hilarious. It's a classic football player thing to fall and then pretend like your knee is hurt or something else is hurt. And that's exactly what they did with these knockout animations. King Haaland seems like a really solid skin, and it's kind of crazy that this is the first time they've ever put a human in Clash of Clans. This is a huge collab that they're doing, and this is by far the biggest collab they've ever done, with events happening throughout the entire month, all centered around Haaland. The football champion's animations make me think that she's a goalie because she kind of gets ready and then all the balls start coming at her and she's got to block them all. And she does. They stuck with the blue theme of the royal champion, and she has a completely different hairstyle than we've ever seen. The color of these skins are interesting because the color of their clothes are more of a pastel color. They're less saturated than skin colors that we're used to. As a gold pass skin, we usually don't expect as many effects and animations from the skins, but it looks like this one has a decent amount of effects. As she walks around, she dribbles the ball with her, and then she kicks the ball to attack, and somehow another ball magically appears for her to take another shot. Again, here's her knockout animation. This time she's holding her shin. I don't know if she's actually hurt, but she looks like she's hurt. I think this skin is a really solid gold pass skin. She also has the confetti like the legendary skins, so she's really not much different, and she costs much less than a legendary skin, plus you're getting all the perks of the gold pass alongside her. The football scenery is coming out on May 5th. This is going to cost just as much as any other scenery, $6.99 USD, but the thing that stood out to me with this scenery is this is by far the biggest scenery that we have. The village looks so small on this one. The painter scenery and 10th Clash Anniversary scenery are also 2 big sceneries, but when you go to select one of those, the village does not get nearly as small as the football scenery. It's crazy how big this one is. Now the outside of it is pretty dark and basic, but still, it's pretty cool to see your village so tiny and have so much of a scenery around it. This one also has a completely custom boat, airship, and forge. Of course, there's custom tiles. There's also custom music. I haven't noticed a parallax effect yet, but that's not really a big deal. The entire thing is obviously a giant football stadium, red on the top right, blue on the top left, with tons of troops in the audience. It looks like goblins are the biggest fans of football. Barbarians are probably the second biggest fans. If we empty out all the buildings, you can see the lines painted on the field look like a football field. They even got like the little things on the corners. You'll notice in one of the challenges that we're going to get this month, they even put some white flags on the corners, just like on a real football field. Down here, we've got 2 giants practicing their football skills. One giant throws it to the other, and then he tries to make it in one of these holes. I don't know if he ever makes it. Let's sit here for a while because I've only seen him miss the balls. Oh, I think he just made that one. It looked like he went through this big hole in the top right. Oh, okay, so he made another one. It went in that center hole at the top. So it seems like he'll make one once in a while and then miss one once in a while. Yeah, see, okay, that one he missed. So it looks like he's gonna make it in the big hole, the small hole, and then miss one of the balls. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of big goblin theme in this football stadium because there's a big metal goblin face up here, and then it looks like there's tons of goblins up in the top, like a VIP area. Yeah, so around the edges, it's pretty basic. There's cliffs with trees on top of them. Let me know what you think of this scenery down in the comments because I think this is gonna be a fan favorite among the community. It's so big and there's a lot going on, and most of the world likes football. 2 days later, the Football Queen is coming out on May 7th. She is another legendary skin, but this one is going to be the reward for the medal event coming later this month. And if you'll recall, the Cookie Rumble event that we had was an event where we got a skin for the medals that you would earn during the event. So technically, the Football Queen is going to be free if you earn enough medals during the event. This is an interesting one. I'm not sure exactly what role she would play on the football team. She's got a basket of balls. Maybe she's the ball girl, but as I play with her, she looks like she actually has a bigger role than that. She again has the confetti flying down. There actually aren't as many visual effects on these skins as I expected. Obviously, there's the confetti, but there's not much more than that. Sounds like she has a custom deployment animation. She also kicks the balls and they don't come back to her, but it's different because she has the basket on her back, and if you look closely, right after she kicks the ball, she reaches back like she's pulling more arrows out of a quiver, except she's pulling more footballs out of the basket to kick. Obviously, it's not realistic because the basket would be bottomless, but it still makes more sense than the champion. And here's her knockout animation. Again, she's holding her knee, pretending like she got hurt. I really like the color design of this skin because it really matches the Queen's purple and green color design that she always has. It's a lot easier to tell from this angle that she's reaching back and pulling more balls out of that basket for her to kick. And she's got a custom sound effect every time she kicks the ball. So far, out of all these skins, I think the champion is my favorite. The Queen is probably my second favorite, but I don't like her design as much. The Football Warden is coming out on May 12th, and this is another legendary skin. He's going to cost $9.99 USD. This one is a really cool skin because his ball handling skills are insane. He might use a little bit of magic to manipulate them, but he probably didn't want me to tell you that. I love this pose animation. He throws all three balls up, balances them on his head, and then they all hover around him. The design of this one is really solid. He looks way younger than normal. Normally he looks like an old magical man, but now he looks sort of like a middle-aged football player. He's got earrings. He has like a mullet hairstyle with a big ponytail. They stuck with that pinkish purple theme of the Grand Warden, and he's got the confetti visual effects around him during his selection and pose animation. I almost forgot the Warden also has an air mode. So this is his pose animation for his air mode. That was funny. He kind of aligned the balls and then did like a little wave with his arms and the balls moved in synchrony with it. Kind of funny. Yeah, this one is definitely my favorite so far. As far as the design goes, I'm not a big fan of that attacking effect because it does not look realistic. First of all, he only kicks one of the balls and the other two just stay behind him, which is kind of odd. It would be kind of cool if they rotated around and then the one that he just kicked would appear to the right of him until it comes back around for him to kick it again. But then this visual effect that appears when he's attacking a building does not look realistic. It's just the ball appearing at the end of the shot instead of the ball moving from him all the way to the building. He's got a similar knockout animation to the other ones. This time he's holding his knee and extending it out and in, and he looks in much more pain than the other ones. Here's his air effects. This one I love more. I might just use him on air because of this animation. Instead of kicking the balls, now he headers the balls into the buildings. Okay, this one proves my point. The ball should definitely be rotating around him because you see after he attacks, the ball comes in from his left side, rotating in. It would make more sense if all the balls would rotate around and he would kick one and then the other and then the other. Here's his knockout. This one he's hovering in the air and holding his knee. This one so far definitely my favorite of the football skins. And the final skin we're getting this month comes out on May 18th, the Football King. Again, legendary skin, and this is going to be the second King skin that we get in the month. It's going to start off with King Haaland, and then we're going to get this one at the end of the month. I'm really happy that this one's coming out a little bit earlier than they've done in the past. Usually skins will come out on the 21st. This one's going to come out on the 18th. It just gives people more time to buy the skin. I said the Warden was my favorite one, but I also really like this. You know what? I think the Warden is going to to be my favorite. The King is going to be my second favorite of these football skins. The King's ball handling skills are crazy. I mean, I would say they're better than the Grand Warden's, even though the Grand Warden is using magic, but this guy's really good at football. The females, the champion and the queen, they dribble the balls as they go around the altar, but the Warden doesn't. He just hovers the balls next to him, and then the King picks up the ball whenever he walks around. He sticks it under his foot when he pauses, but then he picks it up and puts it under his arm. Interesting. It looks like there's a little bit of a visual effect on the ground when the King walks. It's just a tiny patch of dirt when he walks. It looks like that's the same for the other skins too. It is super subtle, so I guess technically they have custom walking visual effects, but it's really subtle. The King, let's see what he does when he attacks. Okay, he kicks the ball and then it comes back to him. This makes sense. It ricochets off the building and comes right back to the King so that he's able to kick it again. I like that. It makes way more sense than the champion or the queen or even the Warden. The King's attacking animation and visual effects is definitely my favorite of all the skins. Okay, the King's knockout is definitely my favorite. I don't know what it is about this. He's just so more dramatic, I think, when he gets knocked out. You can see the queen here, the champion. The queen is probably the second most dramatic, but the King just looks hilarious. Here's the resting animation for the King. Here's the resting animation for the champion. Here it is for the queen, and the Warden's ground resting animation looks like this. And this is his air resting animation. And this is Haaland's resting animation. That's crazy. I mean, in his sleep, he can even juggle the ball. When you're buying any of these skins, put in code Seth before you make the purchase. By doing that, it helps support the channel so much.